Hey, welcome. Mike McMillan here, and today I'm going to share with you 3 techniques that you can use to remove any image background right on your Mac using tools that you already have installed. So let's get started right now. Okay, well, let me begin by just showing a couple of quick examples of what it looks like when you use this technique of removing backgrounds from images that you may want to use in your YouTube videos. So here I've got an example of a gentleman standing out on the street taking some pictures, and when we use my technique we can easily and quickly in seconds just remove that background from this image. We might want to do that because maybe you've got your own background that you want to use instead of the one that was there, and so in your editing software, and I'll show you exactly how to do this in a couple minutes, we could bring this gentleman in, and since we removed the background from that image, we could come in and we could squeeze this down, we can make it bigger and move it around, whatever we want to do with that. This is a cool picture right here. And we could easily come in and, using my technique, remove the background from that image just like that, and then we could bring our own background in, something like this, and superimpose that image. Again, we can resize that, we can move it around, whatever we want to do. So this is a very useful technique, and let's get into it. Let me show you exactly how to do this and some cool tips, extra tips, to juice your images up just a little bit. Okay, well, let me show you how this technique works very quickly, as quick as I can. And remember, this is completely free. I'm going to be using tools that are on my Mac, that are on your Mac. And it's easy, very little frustration, and it works really well. So to begin with, I have some images here that we're going to use. Actually, we're going to use this image right up here. And this is an Adobe stock image that I licensed. And I want you to notice right here it says something, 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 and it says j.jpeg. That's a JPEG image. That's a common file format for images. And I want you to notice that because that's going to come up here in a minute when I try to do this. Okay, at this point, I want to give you a little heads up, sort of a mini warning here about something that you should keep in mind. And when you have an image on your desktop like this and you want to remove the background from it, it's important to understand that removing your image background is a destructive process. In other words, it will destroy your original image, okay? And all you'll have left is the image that you remove the background from, and your original artwork, your original image, will be gone. So what I recommend strongly that you do is click once just to highlight the image before you do anything to it. Hit Command D, which will make a duplicate copy of that image. It'll look like this. And see where this says copy right here? Work with the duplicate image that you made, not your original image, because you may want to use that in the future with all the background and everything in it. So work with your duplicate image, not your original image, okay? And then when you do that, you'll always have your original image to go back and do whatever you want to with it, okay? Just a heads up. So I'm going to double click on this, okay? And in preview, it will open your image up, any image you've got. When you double click on it, your Mac will open it in preview, and you can see that up at the top there. Okay, so here's our image, and the easiest way, the best way, let me take this image right here and squeeze it down so it fits in our viewport here a little bit better. Okay, oops, like this. We'll put it right there. Okay, the easiest way, the best way to do this is just to simply come up to Tools at the top. And down at the bottom it says Remove Background, and you can see it's outlining the man's image right there, and I'll click on that, and right here now it says Convert to a PNG format. If it's a JPEG format starting out, you cannot remove the background image. JPEG files don't support this technique, so it wants to convert it to a PNG file, and we'll let it do that. Okay, And immediately it comes up, and here's our image of the man that we had there with his camera. Now, if I'm going to hit Command plus on my Mac, and that makes it bigger, and I'll hit it again, that makes it bigger again, and I'll kind of move this down a little bit. This came out really good around his shirt and every place. Hair is sometimes a problem. You could use this image exactly the way that it is, and it probably wouldn't be too bad. But to be honest with you, I see some problem areas. And I see right over here, there's some flyaway hair right here. It has a little bit of a bluish tint to it back there. I don't like it. There's some flyaway stuff and some just kind of shaky stuff up here I don't like, and a couple places over here. There are a couple ways that you can tweak this. Another tool that you can use is if we come up here to View, okay, and I'll scroll down to where it says Show Markup Tool, and see what that did up here. It gave us all these tools we can use to adjust this image. So there are a couple tools that we can try. I'm going to hit Command plus one more time. Move him down a little bit because it's the hair that we want to see here. And one tool is this one right here. This would be my last choice, but let me show you how this works. It says Instant Alpha, and there's an alpha channel associated with images, and it's just kind of runs in the background. You don't notice it or anything, but you know, image files have red, blue, and green tints that they can apply, that can be applied to the pixels in your image. And every color that you see here is a combination of red, green, and blue on this image or any image. There's also an alpha channel, and the alpha channel isn't red, green, or blue. That controls the opacity of the image, and that can make it transparent or keep it the same, whatever. But if I click on this tool and I come in here, I just want you to watch. I'm going to come over here, click down, and you can see when I click down, it turns a lot of this red. Now, if I do this and leave it all red like this and hit delete, it'll take the entire image out, and I don't want it to do that. What I'm trying to get it to do is to come in places, for example, up here where we've got this fuzziness up here. I'm going to click on my alpha tool, and I'm just going to move it a little bit. Now remember, if I move it too much, it's going to take all that out. I don't want it to take all that out. All I want it to do is to try to remove this fuzziness that's up here on top. I'll hit delete and see how it took that out. I've still got just a little bit right there, and it took that out, okay? And so that can be helpful in some cases. It was helpful here. I could try that down here. Right in here, there's some kind of fuzziness in there that I don't really like, and it took some of that out. I'll show you how to tweak that in a second. And there's an area up here, right in there, that I'd like to remove like that, and it took that grayness out, and it still has a strand of hair coming out, but it removed that. So that Instant Alpha tool can be useful. Okay, it's generally not perfect, but it can be useful, and it helped us a little bit down here. The other tool, the third tool, is to come up here, our selection tools. I'm going to pick this lasso selection, and I'm going to come over here, and right here, I still consider this to be a problem area. There's a little bit of blue around these hairs that are sticking out. So I take my lasso tool, and I'm going to start out here. This may be hard to see, but I'm drawing a lasso, sort of like a rope, around this area right here that I don't like. And now when I hit delete, see how it took that out? That cleaned up really good. This may not show, but there's a single hair coming out here, and try to be a perfectionist here, and you may not see this, but I'm going to remove that. Okay, that got that out of there. Right up here, we've got a little bumple of hair or something up there. I'm going to lasso that just like this. Okay, and that took that out for me. See how much better this is getting? This all looks good up here. I have this single hair coming out. That's okay, but I'm going to use my lasso too. There's some kind of a flow of hair going out here, and I'm going to take that out. I'm going to lasso, put a lasso around that, just like that. I'll hit delete, and I took that out. Now when I did it, I've got a little bump right here where I didn't do a perfect job, and I'm going to take that out. I didn't get that just right either. Take that out. Now that looks pretty good. Now, as a matter of fact, right up here, I'm going to come in here and tighten up that hair. There. That looks pretty good. Now I like that the way it is. I'll hit Command minus, Command minus, Command minus, Command minus again. There. Now you can see the image, and that image looks pretty good. Very usable. That would work out very well for us. Okay? So that's how you can do that. You can use the remove background image. You can use the alpha tool up here, and you can use the lasso tool right up here. Okay, so that's really good. Now, you can't really use this in your video clips yet because you need a way to get this in a format where you can actually drag it and drop it into your video that you're creating. Okay, so what you need to do is come up here to File and come down to Export, just like this. And you can name it anything you want. That's the name of the image right now, but let's just call this Man. Okay, and it'll be a PNG file. And make sure this alpha is clicked, and by default it will be. Okay, so I'm going to click on Save, and when I do that, let me get him out of there. I'm going to drag it over here where it'll show up in our viewport. And now if we click on this, there we have it. This looks great. This is as close to perfect as we can get. Okay, that looks great, and I like it. So that's how you can remove the background image. Okay, well, let me just show you one more kind of, not advanced, but another technique where if you've removed backgrounds from images, how you can combine those, and you can get some kind of interesting effects. So just to show you what I mean by that, down here you can see I have 4 images on my desktop right here. Okay, and the first one is just like a home office, kind of a library, beautiful setting up in the mountains with the trees and everything. So we're going to use that image, and then I have 3 images of women right here, and I'll just show you the first one. And I've removed the backgrounds. There used to be a background behind her, and I've used the technique that I showed you, to remove that background. So I'll close that down. The other 2 you'll see in a second. I don't need to take the time to show you those right now. But what I'm going to do is come in here, and just so you know, I use ScreenFlow to edit my videos with, okay? And I'm going to be using ScreenFlow right here, okay? And so what I've got is I simply, let me move this down a little bit so it shows up better. There's that image right there. That's the image that I showed you, and I'll come back in here and let me move this up. Okay, and then over here I have those 3 images that I showed you, and here's one right here, and if I move my cursor over it, there's that woman with the notepad right there. The background image is gone. I have another image. This was the second woman that I had. I removed the background image there. You can see it down here. And then the third one, which is right here, again, I removed that background image. So I have these 3 images. And I want to show you this because it's possible to combine different images that you've removed backgrounds from to end up with kind of a cool effect. And what I'm going to do is, let me come down here, and I'm going to, let's see, move this up a little bit here, and I will then come down here. I'm going to move this down a little bit. And I'm going to take all of these before we start, and I'm going to move them down in my timeline, just like that. Okay? So what I want to do is, let's come over here. Here's my background that I wanted to use right there. And I'm going to take the clip of the first lady that I showed you, and I'm going to drag her over, excuse me, to the front in my timeline. She has to be above the background. This is the background I want. And if I move my cursor over, see, I removed the background from her image, so now I can move this around any place I want because the background is gone. And furthermore, I can grab a corner, like right here. I can shrink her down. That's a little small. But yeah, we can have her right in there. And, you may want to use that. But then I'm going to take this second image, and I'm going to drag this one in and let you see this is the other lady that I had right there. And I'm going to take this third image right here. Let me stretch this out a little bit. Take that third image right there, and you can see that, again, I can move her around, do anything I want to there. And let's see, I've got 1, 2, and 3. Okay, this image right here, this one right here, she's a little bit taller than the other ones. So what I'm going to do, let me squeeze that down. I'm going to squeeze her down just a little bit so she's more in line with the other images. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to take this image and drag it up on top of that first image that I had. Okay, and let me move my cursor down there in my timeline. And so what I end up with is now I have both of these, and you can see that they both have transparent backgrounds. So right now I could do, I can move these around however I would like to. And what I'm going to have to do is move these down in my timeline so that I can drag this one up above. And now I have all three of these images, and you can see how they all have transparent backgrounds, so I can superimpose one over the other. And you can see, okay, there's those two, and I've got this one in front. I could put any one in front that I want to, but it goes, the one on top will be in front, and then the next one will be right behind her, and the next one will be behind both of those. So you can use this idea to sort of compose images that are built from many different, images you've removed backgrounds from. And so that's kind of a cool effect, and you can, end up with something like this. So you might want to keep that idea in mind to do. Well, it's been fun. You guys take care. Go make some great videos and have a good time.